It's getting whacked. This is one of the better opportunities I see in the market. SMLR, right? So they sell medical devices, and they've turned into a Bitcoin treasury company. So let's get rid of these moving averages real quick. Oh, and I found a way to make the charts bigger. So for y'all, those who were complaining about the screen size being too small, I fixed it. So look, there was a gap here. You see right there, there's no bar, there's no candle that covers this space. So what that means is when there's a gap up, that there is so much buying pressure that when the market opened, it skipped these numbers in between, and these gaps usually fill, right? So whenever you have a gap up, you can anticipate the gap's going to close, and then that gap closing will be your signal to get in, right? So here's the gap. Boom. And now what do you know? That gap closed. Here's the gap closing. Today, the gap closed, right? So I think this is a pretty good buying opportunity here, 31.97. Now, with that being said, there's another gap up here. Okay. So this is like 56 to like 61, right? So if you just trade this from gap to gap and you just sit on it, that's an 88% return, right? So as they make their money selling their devices, I think they have like some medical device software as well that they sell. As they get to that and they store their money in Bitcoin, then they issue more bonds or they issue more shares and they take that money and buy more Bitcoin. Bitcoin runs, they run with it, right? So boom, opportunity I see right now, SMLR at 32 bucks. Then you got CEP, right? This is Cantor Fitzgerald's. They're going to merge and become XX21 or 21 with Jack Mallers being the head of this, right? So when they announced the merger, this is when it went vertical, right? This is when it goes vertical like crazy. And then I think when I first posted in the Wealth Squad, it was here around like $15, $16. It went up to $57. Now it's down to 25, right? So the merger isn't official yet, so we don't know exactly when it will happen. So I would say, if you're going to jump into this, or if I were to jump into this even more, I bought some at $26. I would just kind of sit and wait. But I think SMLR is kind of the best opportunity to speculate with right now. Who knows if this gap fills? I doubt this one fills. Right? This is the reason why I say I doubt this gap fills here is because this is a company. This is a complete change of business model, right? So this gap here, maybe it fills, right? And more than likely, if Bitcoin gets crushed even more, it fills. But I would start buying in here. You just nibble in a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, right? So there's that, and then we have Bitcoin itself. So I started buying CP at 26, by the way. And then we have Bitcoin itself. All right. So I bought some right before I started this video at 14,000 exactly. So areas that we're looking for Bitcoin to stop falling. All right, you see this area here. So as Bitcoin runs up and then it stops here, this area becomes an area of resistance, right? Bitcoin runs and it stops running there and it falls. And then when it runs again and it stops falling there, right? So This is a significant area. This is a significant area, right? Bitcoin runs. When it finally goes through these areas, it runs even more. Now, when it starts falling, guess where it stops? In this area here. You see it stops here, then it runs again. So we would be looking at this support to act as that support, right? And we would be looking at this area of resistance to act as support as well. So if we clear off these charts, and remember, support and resistance aren't specific numbers, they're areas, right? So if you look at them like areas, you'll find this way more helpful than saying it needs to stop here, it needs to stop here, it needs to stop here. No, it's an area, right? So we'll go from here to here, right? If we go any lower, if we break through this level of support right here, we break through this exact level of support, then we'll be looking to come to this area, which is about 110. So I would expect Bitcoin to hold at 110, right? So it could come down even more, or it could stop here at 112 and then reverse. Who knows, right? These are just educated guesses that you can make. The weekly chart, the MACD is turned over on the weekly chart. Here's the MACD, right? If this black line breaks below the red line, we go even lower, or it could touch the red line and go. You see here, we break below the red line. So the price of Bitcoin is here, and then it fell down there. Black goes below red, breaks here, and we fall all the way down here. All right. So in the same way, when Bitcoin is looking bullish, and I'll make these type of videos, I'll do the same thing when it starts falling, right? Black goes below red there, and then we fall to down here. See what I'm talking about? Boom. And we fall to down here. Here it happens again. Here it happens again. So we go from here, we fall down here. Okay, then it runs, and then we fall down there. All right. So I'm not going to just be biased on the upside of Bitcoin. Also, it looks like it can cool off. Now, you need Bitcoin to cool off. You need these areas. You need these sell-offs, right? So nothing runs straight up. So what happens is you go up, sideways, down, sideways, up, sideways, down, sideways, up. So these sideways areas are called areas of consolidation, right? Fall down, up, down, sideways, up, down. So if you're just watching this on a day-to-day, remember these are weekly charts. Each one of these bars equals 1 week. So if you're watching this every 5 seconds, you're glued to your phone. This is just playing out from 2020 to 2025, right? You notice we're going up, sideways, up, sideways, up, and then eventually we'll go sideways, down, sideways, up. And this whole thing is just setting you up to go up over time. So the day-to-day stuff doesn't matter too much, right? The people who are winning this, who are winning in Bitcoin, you're just buying here, buying as much as you can here and here and here. And then people go, oh, is this the top? Why would I buy here? It's the top. And then 4 years later, you realize this is a miracle price, $10,000. Now we're at 113. The people who are over here arguing about why would you buy the top at 110 or why would you buy 110? It's too expensive. You just fast forward 4 years and you've, got a 1,300% return on your money. So, you put in your $300 in over here. Now your 300 is worth 3,000. You put your 3,000 over here. Now your 3,000 is worth 30,000. You got to be patient with this stuff. But we're just going up over time. Last 10 years of Bitcoin. Look at this. I don't want to hear no complaining. I don't want to hear no crying. I don't want to hear none of that. Right? So if you look at it, if you look at Bitcoin with more than like fucking 4 weeks in mind, you'll see this is a great time to buy. That's a great time to buy. Now, the charts are one thing, your emotions are another. So these little sell-offs here, you're like, oh my God, what's going on with Bitcoin? Oh my God, what's going on in Bitcoin? And then you just fast forward a few years and we're way over here. So imagine there was somebody panicking when Bitcoin sold down to 4K. Then somebody was panicking over here when Bitcoin sold down to 1800. And then somebody was panicking over here when Bitcoin sold down to 800, right? Same thing over here. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. This is when you're going to be buying the most, right? This is when you should be getting the most aggressive, right? Bitcoin's cool at the top, but when it starts to sell off, now look how when you zoom all the way out, this little sell off from 124 to 135 is like peanuts. It's peanuts, right? So who cares? If we go to 110, who cares? If we go to 100, who cares, right? I personally don't care. I'll continue to buy. All right, I'll continue to make my money in Diddy dollars, provide value to the world, so they'll swap whatever I'm offering with dollars, and then I'll take those dollars and go buy more Bitcoin. Now, here's the thing. Once we stop falling, let's go to here. Cool. Whenever we do stop falling, right, my first bet is going to be in this area, right? I think we come somewhere in this area here. Let me screenshot this. I think we stop falling somewhere in this area, right? And then we probably trade sideways for a few weeks and then go up. And then when we go up, we're going to break the all-time high again, and then we're going to go even higher. So when we go higher, I think we're going to go to 138 to 144. So 138 to 144. That's the next like key area that I think we run to. So buying at 110, you know, and then it runs back to 138, 144. Maybe it trades sideways. Eventually we go to 185. Eventually we go to 200,000. But the same way we go and look back, just 5 years ago, Bitcoin was $3,000. Right? So if 5 years ago, I'm like, yo, Bitcoin's 3,000. You might want to buy one. Bitcoin's 7,000. This tweet will age well. And now it's 113,000. It'll be the same thing in 5-6 years. 5-6 years, we're going to be like, yo, Bitcoin's at 900K, 1.1 million. And then you're going to be like, damn, why was I panicking when it went from 124 to 113? Or why were I listening to stupid people who said buying at 100K is too high? Those stupid people were also telling people that buying at 10 grand was too high. So when Bitcoin runs from 3K to 10K and you're like, no, I'm not buying Bitcoin, it's too high. And then Bitcoin goes from 10 to 69, down to 15, up to 113. And now when you look back at it, you're like, bro, it didn't matter if I bought at 8K or 10K. The most important thing is I bought and I held it and I kept adding. And I put a percentage of my paycheck into there. So y'all stick to the plan, man. Nothing changed. Stick to the plan.